I'm with the clerk of the board's office. I want to thank each of you for taking the time to join us this morning. We're excited to offer the eForm700 online training. This training will provide an overview of the online Form 700 system. This is an interactive training, and you may also ask questions in the chat. We'll do our best to respond to all your questions as quickly as possible. And again, thank you for joining us. Laura and her team will provide the training today, so I'll hand it back to Laura.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Okay, we can start. I'm going to take off my camera, so I will share my screen. All right. Okay. So as we did in the past during the training, I think what we are going to do, we are going to go over the presentation for the training, and we are going to actually send, you will get the recording of the training, and we will also save this PowerPoint presentation as a PDF file, and we will send it to you so you also have this PowerPoint presentation. Now, oh, somebody had the microphone, and I can hear myself twice. Could you please mute your microphones? Thank you. Yeah, that's good. So now, just the agenda of this training. We are going to give you a Form 700 overview. And then we are going to present the features in the Alameda County eForm700 system, how you will set up your agency, how you're going to send notification to your filers and request statements from the filers. We will also go over how you are going to review the submitted statements as a filing officer. And then most of the training is going to be the demo of and we will show you on the screens. This year we have added few more features, and I wanted to, what's happening? This is just going like away from, without me doing anything. Interesting. Hold on a second. Just let me see. This happened again. So we will do a demo, and then at the end, after the demo, we are going to do a recap for filing officials. We will explain all the steps to send pre-filing notification to filers. And we will also do a recap for filing officers. This is keep happening. I don't know what's happening. Anyways, then we will take the questions. Now, I do not know, do we have anyone who never used the system? Is it like, or there are people who used the system last year only? Is anyone who is new to the system? Can you unmute and let me know?
I'm new.
I have not.
So just,
I'm also new.
I'm new.
Also new.
so we do have some people who are new. So I'm going to make sure I will cover all the details. So the new people will kind of have the whole picture. So now I will start with what is Form 700. And for the new people especially, every elected official and public employee who makes or influences governmental decisions is required to submit this Form 700 statement of economic interest. So we call it Form 700 statement. Now, all this is provided by the Fair Political Practices Commission, and you'll hear me referring during the training to FPPC. So FPPC is the Fair Political Practices Commission that overlooks for the whole state of California all this Form 700 process. And they provide the guideline and they provide the rules. So that is, if the link that I am provided here, you could use that link if you want to go on their website and, you know, like see what they have in there, what guidelines, and we will also provide more links as we go. Now, one important piece in this whole Form 700 process is the conflict of interest code file. So basically, each agency and department has a conflict of interest code file that was approved by the board. And this is an official document that identifies all officials and employees within the agency. And basically, for your agency, it will give the list of positions for people who have to submit this Form 700 statement. So it is important you know and you verify this conflict of interest code. We do have it also in the system, and I'm going to show it how to look at it during the demo. Now, we are going to refer a lot of times to the filer. The filer basically is the person, like the employee, who needs to submit a Form 700 statement. So just like few terms that you will hear me repeating during the training. Now, you also need to know that your role in the Form 700 system and based on FPPC, there are two different important roles. One of them is the filing official, and the other one is the filing officer. Now, you need to know which one of the two you are. Most of the people might be in both roles. So I'll explain a little bit what is the filing official doing and what is the filing officer doing. And if you are not sure which one you are, I guess Cheryl could respond to that, because Cheryl has a list of all the filing officers and officials. So the filing official, it's a designated employee for an agency and department who maintains the list of all the filers with the positions, addresses, email address in the system, and they are responsible to send invitation to the filers to submit the Form 700 statements. So that's the responsibility, main responsibility of the filing officials. Now, the filing officer, it's a designated employee for an agency or department who is responsible to review all the submitted statements. And if something is wrong with the statement, they are supposed to request corrections. And the filing officer also needs to keep an eye on the whole Form 700 statement, all the Form 700 statements, and send overdue notification in case filers didn't submit their statements. We have included in here a link from FPPC with the duties of a Form 700 filing officer. So the link is here. And as I said, we are going to send this as a PDF file in the chat once we are done with this training. Okay. Now, this year, the due date to submit for the filers to submit the annual Form 700 statement is April 3rd. Now, assuming office statements, so let me explain for the new people. When somebody is assuming a position that shows on the conflict of interest file, then those filers, they will need to submit an assuming office statement, Form 700 statement. Usually that is due, I mean, not usually, this is the rule. This assuming office statement is due within 30 days of assuming office date. The same if some filer, some employee who was a filer is leaving that position, then a leaving office Form 700 statement, it's due within 30 days of the leaving office. So I know that for some of the filing officials, which are local to that agency or department, what you could do to make sure you know who is leaving the office and who is assuming the office, you can communicate, maybe have your HR let you know that, okay, when people leave or when people are assuming office, if you are not, if it's a bigger department or agency. Now, it will be maybe difficult for some, like I've been talking to April, actually, from LAFCO, and for sometimes it might be difficult to know when people are assuming of an office statement or leaving office statement. Now, about the due date, FPPC, it's recommending, even though, let's say, the filer missed the deadline within 30 days of assuming office or 30 days of leaving office, you can still take those statements even though they are late. So yeah, it's not, you still can handle those statements. Now, what happens when you use the system, and once you decide what type of statement each filer has to submit, once you operate this into the system, you will need to send the pre-filing notification to the filers. What is this? This is an email that the system is going to send to your filers. And FPPC has some guidelines about this pre-filing notification. What they are recommending is that you notify the filers at least 30 days prior to the annual deadline. And you could notify the filers by email, by mail. If you, let's say, you don't have their email address, you can mail them the notification, or simply call or tell somebody. But it's the good thing is that even if you do that, it would be a good thing to log that you have notified those filers. And I'll show you how you can do that. Now, the email notification that the eForm700 system sends will contain, as per FPPC guidelines, will contain all the instructions, the link to the Form 700 system that the filers can use to submit electronically their statements. It will contain the link to all the important information from FPPC, like the reference pamphlet, FAQs from grouped by and organized by FPPC to help filers, and it will have a gift fact sheet from FPPC website explaining basically the filers what kind of gifts they have to report. So all this information is provided in the eForm700 system to the filers through the email notification that we have set up. The other important information you need to know, and this is for the filing officers. The filing officers are responsible to review all the submitted Form 700 statement, whether they are paper or if they are electronically submitted. Then all these statements have to be reviewed by the filing officer. And the guideline from FPPC is that, let's say you are the filing officer for your agency or department, and what you need to do, you need to make sure you are doing a full review for 20% of all timely filed statements, which is the statements that are submitted on time. Then any late statements, you need to do a full review. And you need to also do a full review of all the submitted amendments. So that's the full review. What is a full review? It's basically you look at the statement that was submitted to you, and you are looking on the cover page to see if all the information is correct. You are checking to see what are the schedules that were included, checked on the cover page, and then you look on each and every schedule to make sure there are data on the schedule, and you make sure you spot anything that could be like mismatched. Usually if PPC likes to see full names, no abbreviations. So that's the full review. Basically, you look at the whole statement from start to end. That's why they don't request you do that for all the statements. They request do it for 20% of the statements. And we do have like a system, and I'll show you in the demo. We recommend which one should be the full review. We kind of try to help you determine that. And I'll show that in the demo. Now, the facial review, it's the other, like when a filing officer reviews, there are two different review types. One of them is the full review I just explained, and the other one is the facial review. Facial review is required for all the statements, most of the statements, like 80% of the statements that you got. And what you have to do in the facial review, you're going to look on the cover page and make sure the name and address of the filer is correct. You make sure the period covered is provided in there. You check that the type of statement, which is either annual or assuming or living, it's correctly indicated on the cover page. And you make sure that the summary section on the cover page is completed and all the visually just make sure that the schedules are attached as indicated on the cover page. And obviously you need to check on the bottom of the cover page and make sure the form is signed. Now, this eForm700 system, basically we worked with the clerk of the board and to develop this system, which we did develop in-house. And I provided in here the link to the Form 700 system. We did go through the certification process with FPPC. So basically, FPPC, they got permission to look at our system. They logged in, they tested our system, and they gave us a certification that our filers can use this system to electronically submit their statements. This system is going to be used by the filers, and it's going to be used by the filing official to organize the filers for the agency and department. It will be used to send the pre-filing notifications to filers. And basically, it will provide reports for the filing officials to keep an eye on everything that happens with the Form 700 for your own agency or department. Now, filing officials will receive will send the pre-filing notification to the filers. So they will receive an email, and the email will contain the link to the eForm700 system, will contain all the information, even a link to the conflict of interest code file. So the filers are going to be able to go to the system, set up their password, and then use the system to submit their statements. Also, the filing officers will use the eForm700 system to be able to review the submitted Form 700 statements, request corrections, and they can also send some overdue notifications to the filers. So all this system is going to be used by filers, filing officials, and filing officers. Now I'm going to start the demo for the system, and I'm going to show you the system. And yeah, we'll start from here, and we will, no worries. I mean, if you have any questions during the demo, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions. We also have at the end question sessions in case you want to ask more questions. Yeah. All right, so let me just here bring up the system. Okay, I'm gonna make this. Okay, and I'm going to actually log out and log back in so you can see how basically I'm going to log in the system. Now, the demo I'm going to do, it's going to be on our test environment. And it's I can just like play with it, so no worries. I'm not doing anything in the production environment. So if you, as well as the filers, let's say the new people who are going to use the system this year, we are going to make sure you are set up in the system. If you are not set up in the system, you need to let us know, because we will set up and you will receive a notification email. And with that notification email, you will be able to set up your password to the system and access the system. So we try to set up everyone, but if you didn't see that email to set up your password, just let us know. You can even type in the chat, in this chat, to let us know if you are don't have that information. Okay, so basically, when you log into the system, you will log in with your email address, the way we set you up in the system. So, and then you will log in with your password. Now, if you forget your password, we do have this link here, forgot your password link, that you can use to retrieve your password, to change your password. So yeah, if you forget your password that you had last year, just feel free to use this, basically, and you'll provide your email in here. And then when you click on the reset password, you will be able to receive an email with a new and set up a new password. So that's good to know. Now I'm going to log in the system, and when I log in the system, I'm going to log in with I am in all the roles, so I will be able to see all the functionality. If you are only filing official or only filing officer, let's say if you are only filing official, you are going to only see the parts of the system that are for the filing official. If you are the filing officer only, you are going to only see the functionality that is for the filing officer. And if you are both, you see everything. So there are a few tabs, and I'm going to go over them. And we indicate on each screen if the screen is for a filing officer and official. So it will be quite easy to understand how you are set up in the system. So the first part in the system that you need to know is that, and even for the filing official who use the system past years, always it's a good practice to go over the configuration for your agency. Like, let's say if you are an agency with departments, make sure you are going into the departments, in the configuration in departments, and make sure you review that your departments are correct in there. Now I'm going to a test agency, so this one doesn't have, but let's say if I go to an agency, and again, I am the administrator of the system, that's why I can see all the agencies. So I'm just an example. If you will only see your own agency. I'm seeing everyone's. So for instance, if I look in the departments for the social services agency, I will be able to see all the departments or divisions. And if you have departments or divisions, make sure you go in here, make sure these names are correct. And if you see something is missing, you can add a new department and division by using this button here, add new department and division. And that will, you will type in the new name. Now the short name, it's something like every agency and department has a short name, like social services agency, it's called SSA, like in short. Now, their department and division, again, they have like some abbreviations. So it's a good thing to have the short name, because later on, when you are going to go on to look at the screens for your filers or your statements, we are going to use for the department and division the short name, so it doesn't take too much space on the screen. That's why. Now, if something is wrong with the department or division, we pretty much every screen will have this little pencil for editing information. You see this column edit? If you are clicking on the little pencil, you are going to be able to edit the information for that specific agency and department. So this applies to all the screens. If you want to delete something, then this X is going to help you delete a department or division, you know, and like, or every time you see a little icon on the screen, and if you don't know what is this icon for, you just go on top of it. And when you go on top of it, it will tell you a little bit more about what that is. Like, I went over the little pencil and it tells me this edit department. If I go on the little cross, it's going to tell me delete department. So when you see an icon and you don't know what is this for, then you go on top of it with the mouse and it will tell you a little bit more about it. So this is about, just make sure you go to the configuration, make sure you review if you have department and divisions, and then go, next thing, you go in the configuration and check if all the addresses for your agencies are correct. Like in this case, I brought social services agency. They have a lot of different locations. So in here, make sure you have the whole list of your, you know, whatever the filers are going to use. They don't have to type in the business address. They will select it from a drop-down list, and that will be whatever you have in here. So make sure you are not missing some addresses. Okay, so check this. And again, it's the same thing. If you notice something is wrong with an address, click on the little edit pencil, and that will allow you to edit something for that address, correct some information. If you need to add a new address again, you click on add new address. And that's how you are going to review your business addresses for your agency. Now, the other important part is that you want to review that you have all the positions set up in the system for your agency. Like, I'm going to go to the position screen. And in here, you are going to be able to see all the positions for your filers. You don't put all the positions in your agency. You only care about the positions who are supposed to file a Form 700 system, Form 700 statement. So that's what you need to have in here, all those positions. Now, for each position, you will be able to, let's say, when you add a new position, like I'm doing here, you're going to put in the position name. Now you will see in here the filing officer group. Now, for most of the, it depends, like, let's say if you are a school district or a board and commission, then I think the filing officer, it's CBS clerk of the board.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's why, just know from your conflict of interest code which positions are supposed to be forwarded to clerk of the board and which ones need to stay with you. So for instance, like for our Alameda County departments, like department heads, Form 700 statement needs to go to the clerk of the board. But most of the others, like they need to stay with that specific agency. So that's why it's important, make sure your when you add a new position, you specify whether it's your agency filing officer or clerk of the board or auditor. It depends, like, on your situation. Now, in order to edit a position, you will be able to, again, use that little pencil. And basically in here, you are going to be able to edit anything that on that position. Now, what we did in this screen, because it might be that you want to delete multiple positions, who knows, then we have also you could select multiple positions that maybe you want to delete, and then click delete. Okay? So that will allow you, instead of deleting one by one, to select multiple and delete once. Click on the delete button once. So again, it's very important. You go here and you do view all your positions and make sure you have all the positions listed in the conflict of interest code. Sometimes I know that even if you have just the number of positions on the conflict of interest code, I think usually what FPPC is saying, if you have others that make decisions, then those also should submit a Form 700 statement. So for that, you need to make sure you add the new position here. Now, I know that, and Cheryl can correct me, I think the conflict of interest code file needs to be approved by the board. If you need to make a change in your conflict of interest code file, you need to contact Cheryl about that, because that needs to be scheduled for board approval. So that's a bit more complicated process. So if you know that your conflict of interest has to be updated, contact Cheryl. I won't be able to help you with that, but Cheryl can help you to schedule it for the board approval, to update it in the system. So all that, yeah, Cheryl can help you with. Now, so that's about the first thing that you will need to do. Just check the configuration, make sure all the data is in the system. The second thing the filing officials have to do, you go to the Manage Filers, okay? Now, in the Manage Filers, this screen is going to show you all the filers for your agency and department. I'm going to move this for...
Quick question.
Yes.
Hi, sorry. Before you move to manage filers, under configuration, there is an item that says user roles.
Mm-hmm.
And then earlier, when you first started off this training, you had said that some individuals, we would have two roles sometimes, which I do. I'm a filing official, but I'm also the filing officer for the district.
Correct.
But yet, under the filing officers tab, I don't see myself in there. I only see county staff.
Now, so tell me, which school district are you from?
Fremont Unified School District.
Cheryl?
We would need to look at your conflict of interest code to make that determination.
Okay,
Because in the code, it should tell us who is the officer. If you're sending them to the clerk of the board's office, or if you're maintaining them and sending us a copy.
Okay, I'll have a side conversation with you. You should already have all that for Fremont Unified, but we can talk afterwards.
I'm sure I have it. I just don't know off the top of my head. If
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So why I wasn't showing you guys the user roles is because, like, as an admin, I can see myself. If you are also an admin only for your agency, you will be able to see user roles and see who is what. You know, that's why you are able to see user roles. Some people are not able, but if you see the user roles option, take a look at it and look in there who is set up as filing official officer, and that will help also. Yeah. So that's what good question. Yeah. So now I'm going to move to the Manage Filers screen. So in the Manage Filers screen, now what you are going to have in there, it will be like, let's say if you are a new agency using the system, like or school district or a local agency, what we would like to help you put all the filers in the system. So please contact us, and we are going to be able to send you like an Excel file. And in that Excel file, it will have a special format, and you put in the Excel all your filers, and then we will import all those filers in the system. for you. So just make sure you contact us, and I will provide the contact information also in this training material. At the end, you will see the contact information. We also plan to put in the system something like contact in here, so you can click on it and type in whatever you want to ask, and then it will send an email to us. So you don't have to look in your email, see who is the contact I should contact and all that. We'll do that later. Now, what you see in this page, this screen is for the filing official. So looking at the title of the page, you kind of see, okay, this is a filing official thing. So managing filers, next to the title of the screen, you will see a how-to button. So basically, when you click on the how-to button, we kind of put together a user manual. Like if you are for a screen for the filing officials, you will see the user manual for the filing officials. And inside there, we put a lot of topics with a step-by-step description. Now, one thing that you should know is that instead of looking at this user manual and seeing, oh, I want to see how to correct an address, like a topic, you know, and instead of looking here, oh, this is page 12, let me scroll down to page 12. No, you can easily click on it like that, and that will take you straight to that page, and that page will have step-by-step instructions. Now, let us know if you see something wrong with our instructions. Maybe they are not accurate. Sometimes we make mistakes, misspellings, all that. Just let us know if you notice something that we have to correct. Now, the other useful thing, let's say you want to look at few topics. You clicked on the topic, it took you to the page. Now, I want to go back to the beginning, and I want to maybe look at some different topic. Scroll down on that page you are in on the bottom, and you will see a link. Go back to table of content. Every single page has that link. So that way it will take you back to the contact, and maybe you are going to kind of like want to look for a different topic, like how to add a new filer. So that will take you again to step-by-step instructions, and then you'll be able to go back to the beginning to look for a different topic. Now this link opens in a new tab, so you can go back to the system like that, to the tab you previously had, back and forth to the file. So it opens in a new different tab. Then once you are done with it, you can close it. You are still in the system. So yeah. Now, this screen will help you, let's say add a new filer. Let's say you used the system last year. Now you have a new filer. Now, when you click on the add new filer button, you will be able to add a new filer. You will provide all the information for that filer. Now, usually you will see that we have the position. The position that you are going to select will be like a drop down. So it will be based on whatever positions you have in the configuration. If you realize that, oh, I don't see a position, then you could go to the configuration and add a new position in there to that position screen, or we also added this little plus button to help you right there add a new position. So you don't have to go away from this page. The same thing applies for the business address. If you go to, if you select the city, you know this filer works in Auckland, then we provide the business address as a drop-down. It's based on whatever you have set up in the configuration in addresses. If you notice that address is not there, again, you could use that little plus button to add a new address without going away from this screen. So that basically will help you. This is the screen that will help you to add a new file. So that's one function of that screen. Oh, one more important thing, that when you know that your filer needs to do an assuming statement, then you need to provide the start date for that position, because that will be the assuming date. So make sure, if you know that this filer is, you will intend to request an assuming statement, add in the start date of that position. If you intend this new filer to do a leaving statement, then in that case, you put an end date. If the filer has to do an annual statement, you don't need to put start date on end date. That's it. You just add the filer. You don't need to provide that information. You see, it's optional. So that's about add new filer. Now, let's say you have added a filer, but you realize by mistake you added this filer. You don't want this filer to actually show up on your list. What you can do, you can simply use this little checkbox column from here to select the filers you want to remove from your list. And then you are going to click on the Remove Filers button. Now, what does remove means? It doesn't mean it completely deletes these filers, it completely deletes everything for these filers. It's only going to inactivate actually the filer, so that those filers will disappear from your list. Like, let's say you had this filer last year. Now this filer left your agency. You no longer want to see it on the active filers list. You want to make it disappear from the list. Using the remove filers doesn't mean it will delete all the statements for this filer, everything from the system. No, it's just going to make this filer disappear from your list. If by mistake, and I had questions from other filing officials who came to me and say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize and I removed some filer from my list. How do I bring it back? It's very simple. You see this show active filer positions only in here? Well, if that is by default checked, because most of the time you are only interested in the active filers. Now, if you uncheck that button in here, this is going to bring all the active and inactive filers on this screen. So you are going to see, if you are going to scroll to the right, you'll see there is a column, is active position, and it's yes or no. Because I unchecked this checkbox here on top, then, and when you go on top of it, it will tell you a little bit of the description about it. It will just show the active and inactive filers. If I check it back, see, it's only active positions showing here. So that's how you basically, let's say you inactivated the filer, you want to bring it back, you uncheck this button, and you basically, you go to that inactive filer, like for instance, this one. And you'll see that filer in here. And again, that filer, let's say if it has a history of multiple positions in the system, we also show this checkbox to show only active or not positions. So that way you'll, if you uncheck this button here, you'll also see all the positions possible for that filer, and you'll be able to use the pencil button to make it back active and click save. So that's I mean, sometimes we've been asked about that, about this. Maybe it's not something that you are going to do a lot, but just remember, if you see show only active positions or filers, you can check on that to see even what it was in the past for that filer. Now, if you want, yes.
Laura, I have a quick question. This is April here.
Yes.
Let's say an actual commissioner has left office on January 1st, 2023. I have not sent our Form 700s yet. How would I wouldn't want to delete that person. How would I handle that situation?
Yeah, correct. So if you know somebody is leaving the office, do not remove it yet from the manage filers. The reason is because you want to go to that filer and make sure you request the leaving position for that filer. Once you request it, you know, you just and when you receive that position, or after you send the pre-filing notification, then you can go here and inactivate it, you know, or you can leave it for later on to after you receive the statement. It's up to you how you do that. But what I'm saying is that do not inactivate the filer before sending the filing notification, because if you do that, you won't be able to send the filing notification, pre-filing notification for leaving office. So instead, what you will do, April, you are going to select that filer. It's still active.
Yep.
Then you are going to say, I want this filer to do a leaving statement. Now, when you are selecting that leaving statement, you will see a message. Make sure that all filers that need to file leaving office statement, they have the end date for the leaving position, okay? So you need to make sure that filer has an end date. And how you will be able to see, just look that filer right here. See, this one doesn't have an end date. So I know that I need to go to that filer and put to that specific position the end date. And let's say like this. And then I'm going back or whatever. I'm going back to this screen. I see I have the end date. I select it and I say, I want this filer to do the leaving statement. And then you will click add selected filers to 2023 filing year. Now there are multiple ways you do that. This is one way you can do it. The other way is that you simply, when you go to add the end date, you see we have in here also add to 2023 filing year the statement, the button. So you could also click on this button once you put the end date.
Okay.
So the system will know. And then once you did that, April, you can even go there, because I'm thinking that, okay, I want to just, now that I requested the leaving statement, I just want to remove this filer from here because I don't want it to be active in my list. So then you can click on remove filer.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Follow-up question to that.
Yes.
What if we did not collect a leaving form from them?
What I would say, I know that what you are saying is that somebody leaves, you maybe don't even know their email address, right?
Because we're in the currently we're establishing an exit where HR does include the leaving form 700 form for those individuals, but is currently not in existence. So what if individuals have left from the previous year that filed, and I don't have a leaving form for them?
That's correct. Now Cheryl could help me answer this question.
What we've done is that we've had that experience, and we try to contact them via telephone, or if not, if you made every effort, then there's nothing else you can do. If you do not have a personal email address for them, there's no way to contact them. But you do have to try to attempt to contact them before we just say no.
Okay, thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Okay, Laura, I have a question too.
Sure.
So I know we've talked about this one before. So if an employee just changes their position and doesn't leave, but let's say they reinstate to a new position, what's the process for that? Do they need to file a leaving statement or just change the position?
Cheryl, could you please respond to that?
Yeah, I think what we've done with that, Kathy, they did not need to file a leaving because they did not leave. And if it's this position they're going to, or the new position, are they required to file a Form 700?
Yes.
Then they would not need to. Now, if they're going up to a position that they did not file, they would need to file.
Okay, and if they go from a position where they do file to another position where they still have to file, They don't
It's
have
not-
to fill out a leave form, leave
No.
application. Okay. All right, thank you.
So Cheryl, I have a question. This is April. How are you?
I'm doing well, April. How are you?
Great, thank you. My question would be, we have an alternate commissioner. We have a commissioner that was a regular. Then she went to an alternate commissioner, still with LAFCO, and then she went to a regular commissioner. So it was regular, alternate, then regular. When she goes to a alternate commissioner, she's still commissioner. Does she need to fill out that assuming?
No.
She just doesn't have to do anything.
No.
Okay.
Only
Thank
the
you.
annual, is that correct, Cheryl?
Only the annual is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Great, great. Good questions, yeah.
Hi, Cheryl, I had a question too. We've had an employee who has gone from their regular filing position. They're now a retired annuitant and they're
Mhm.
doing the exact same work. So would they still need to file, or is that a question I would have to ask the advice line?
Actually, I'm not sure because that means they retired and then
Yeah.
you hired them. So they did a leaving? Did they complete a leaving form?
They didn't, because there was less than 14 days, or actually, I need to check on that.
Because if they did do a leaving, now they are assuming, and they're assuming they
Oh.
left the county or left the agency and now they're coming back. They would need to.
Okay, so if they filed a leaving, they would have to do an assuming.
Yeah, assuming.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? No? Okay, so we'll carry on. So this is, now let's say if you are going to, you set up your list of filers. Now you want those to request those filers the appropriate Form 700 statement type. Let's say all these filers that I have on my screen are going to need to have an annual statement. So what I recommend, look at the bottom of this list of filers and make sure you have, like, if you have multiple pages showing up here, like in my case, you see I only have few filers, but for some other agencies there might be more, like more pages. Let me just try to go to something that I know it has more. You see, like this one has a lot more. Actually it has only 50 less than 50, but sometimes it's like you have more than 50 filers, so that will show you here multiple pages. So what I suggest to you, when you are sending your annual, you are requesting from the filers to do their annual statement, make sure you look here how many pages you have, and if you have multiple pages, go and change to all. Okay, all is going to show you all your filers in one page. And then once you see them all in one page, just use this little checkbox to select all the filers on the page. Okay. And then when you do that, you select them all, and then you go here to the statement type, you select the annual statement, and then click Add Selected Filers to 2023 filing year. Now this screen here, it's only the filers. Now what we try to do, we try to pair a filer with what statement type they need to do. Like if you have them all like that, doing annual, just click on Add, select them, and select the statement type annual, and click Add Selected Filers to 2023 filing year. When that happens, that means you have added for each filer what statement they have to do. In order to see that information, you are going to go to the Manage Statements screen. Okay, right here on top, next to Manage Filers, there is a Manage Statements screen. And that screen is going to show you what statements you added for each filer. You will see all that information here. You know, like for instance, you see this, whatever the test filers that we put, they are supposed to do an annual statement. And now in here on the top, you can, like, if you use the system in previous years and maybe you want to see the statement from a previous year, you use this filing year drop down to go back to that specific year. And the status here, it's also a drop down. Pending, it means if you have selected pending, that means this screen is going to show you all the filers and their statements that didn't submit yet their Form 700 statement. So that's pending. That's what pending means. It means if you select it, you see every statements that are pending, filers didn't act on it. Now, in that drop down, you will have different options here. Like you can narrow down to view the statements that were submitted. And then you could even look at the statements that people submitted and you as a filing officer already reviewed. Or you could even say all. I want to see all statements for 2022, and I'm going to change to 2023. So I want to see all of them regardless their status, you know. So that will show them all. So pay attention what you want to do in this screen, what you want to view. Most of the time you might want to see what are all that are pending. That's why we put it by default as pendings, you know. But if you want to see them all, make sure you change the status to all, so that will show you everything, either whether it's pending or submitted or reviewed, everything will show here. Now, what's important in this screen also is this screen will allow you to view your conflict of interest code file. So there is this link here, click to view existing conflict of interest code. You click on it, and that will show you whatever we have in the system for your agency. You know, so in this case, I just uploaded the conflict of interest code for ITD, Information Technology Department. So that's what I was talking about. These are the positions of the filers that we need to file a Form 700 statement. So you make sure in this screen, you'll be able to view that conflict of interest code file by clicking the link. If you see something is wrong with that file and you need to update it in the system, just send an email to Cheryl and she will be the only one who can update. We can't. Me or my colleagues from ITD, we won't be able to do that for you. You need to contact Cheryl on that. Now, what we did we added in manage statement screen, what are the statements that are supposed to be submitted this filing year. When you do that, the filers don't know yet, okay? What this is going to help you make your complete list. And then once you put everything that you need, all the filers in their statements that have to submit an annual, a living or assuming, then all you have to do, again, in this screen, make sure you look here on the bottom and see if you have more than one page. If you see you have more than 50 filers, then make sure you select in here all, so you can see them all. And once you see them all, again, what we are going to do, we are going to send the filers a pre-filing notification. And doing that, you will basically select all filers by clicking on this checkbox on top. That will select all your filers. And then you go here to the notification type and you select the pre-filing notification. No matter whether the statement type is annual, it's assuming or living, this pre-filing notification, it will know for each filer to look at the statement type and it will send the appropriate information in the email. Like, let's say if somebody has to do an assuming statement type, the email is going to say, hello, filer, you have assumed the position on whatever date we are specifying in here. And then it will tell all the information, how to log in the system, how to set up the password, how to what is the conflict of interest code, everything, what is the due date, everything will be sent out. And by this pre-filing notification. So basically you select it from here and then you click send email. And that will send to all these selected filers the pre-filing notification. Now, once that happens, when you select, and I'm gonna just say here because it's just me and my colleague, when you click send email, we usually just show a confirmation to ask you again, are you sure you want to send email? And you say yes, send emails. And basically this one is going to report that it successfully sent all the emails. And in here, more than that, it will log in the system the date for each filer, the date you sent the pre-filing notification, okay? So that's gonna be like, if you don't recall, oh, have I sent the notification to this filer or not? So what you do, you go in here, manage statements, you scroll to the right to the send pre-filing notification column, and you will be able to see whether you sent or not. If you didn't send, it will be a blank space. So that's what, how you send the pre-filing notification.
Laura, quick question.
Yes.
So I'm seeing that you have managed statement selected for filing year 23.
Mm-hmm.
So the filing year would be for 22, correct?
Well, the filing year is pretty much like the fiscal year, you know, like it starts like this filing year, the way we set it up in the system is like in the fiscal year, you have 2022, 2023.
Okay.
But what we are doing in here, we are showing the end year. So we are putting 2023 because this filing year, usually the FPPC, it's every end of the year, like in January, the beginning of the year, actually, they come up with the new forms on their website. And those forms, if you look at the bottom of their forms, let me just look there. Okay, I'm showing here. Now, you see what they come up every January with this new set of forms, and they tell you, use this through 2023. Now, when you click on this form
for the current year,
you are going to verify here on the cover page. Look at this on the cover page. You see, this is telling you, use this for the 2022-2023 year.
Oh, okay.
But our system is always like, we are just showing the end year, you know. So the filing year, yeah. So one other thing that I wanted to mention, and I've been talking to April actually about this, like, let's say when you are going to, when you are going to send the annual statements to this year, okay, you are going to basically work with the you are going to go in manage statement and you will look at the 2023 filing year. Because for the annual statements, you think, when is it due, my annual statement? It's April 3rd, 2023. That's how you know, like for annual statement, I'm looking at 2023. But think about the assuming and leaving. That is a bit different. Okay. So yeah.
I'm sorry if I could stop you for a second. So when I'm looking at my filing year 2023, it's empty. There's nothing.
It's empty. Exactly, because you didn't probably do what I did in manage filers. Like I went to manage filers. I would select everyone here.
Yes.
I will select the annual statement and click add selected filers to 2023 filing year. That will request the annual statement that will show here on the screen.
Got it.
So
okay,
that's
sorry,
why you don't see anything. Yes.
Okay.
Now, I want to say something important. Like when you are going to receive, let's say, even sometimes you might receive assuming office or leaving office paper statements. I want to show you guys how you figure out when you receive a paper, which year am I going to do this paper, you know? So the way you do it, let's say you got an assuming statement. What you're going to look at that paper, you're going to see, oh, it was selected assuming office. Date assumed was 01 whatever, 0/10/2022. Okay, I don't know. Let's say somebody's sending you late the paper. Now, how do you know which filing year to use in the system? For the assuming office, you look at the date assumed. You see it's 2022. That means in the Form 700 system, you are going to look at the 2022 year to see that statement. You see? Or if, let's say, if it's a living office statement you receive in paper, let's say it's a living statement and it's 02/01, you see 02/01/2023, okay? You are going to look at the date left, okay? And you are going to see what is the year for the date left. It's 2023. That means you are looking here at 2023 to see the living statement or to add it or something like that, yeah. So basically, it's a bit different for the annual because the annual, the filing year, it's basically the next year. And for the assuming and living, you look at the assuming date and living date, and you see what is the year, and that's the filing year. I intend to actually put that information in this how-to system. So it will be a topic, how to determine what filing year I have to go to for a assuming statement or for a living statement or for an annual statement. So we are going to add that topic in here. That will be helpful.
Okay. Laura, I have a question too. So when somebody assumes a position in, let's say, January or February, do they still have to file for the annual?
Cheryl, can you please respond to that?
They were already there and they're taking a new position starting in January, so they will need to file because they need to file the annual as well as the assuming for the new year.
Okay, thank you.
And we do have, if you are going to request an assuming and an annual statement for that filer, the system will allow them to basically select both statements and file as one statement. So that will be easy for the filer. Yeah. Now, I wanted to show you, we only have like not too long, so let me try to go through everything. And if you guys have questions, even if we don't have time to respond to all the questions, you can still contact us and we can respond to the questions in case we don't have time now. So what I wanted to say in the managed statements, what you could also do, like, let's say, if you realize, oh, I requested this filer an annual, but I should have requested an assuming statement. So what you could do in here, use this little pencil icon. And that little pencil icon will allow you to change the statement type, you know, like this, and provide, assume, if you change from annual to assuming, you just provide the assuming office date or living office date, that kind of stuff. So you could do that from here and click save, and that will change the statement type. And will also, like, I don't know if you noticed, but here, not this, here. So if I go, let's say, to this one, this on the, it will show you for that statement, whatever notices were sent to that, for that statement, you see? So you see here on the bottom, that's useful information. You could also send a pre-filing notification even from here, you know, if you wanted to. So that's, this is what this screen is going to help you with, like changing statement type. It will help you also, let's say you realize, oh, I requested an annual statement to this filer, but this, I actually didn't need to do that, you know. So in that case, what you could do, you could select that statement from here and you click void statement. Whatever, let's say if you find for these two statements I requested, but I shouldn't have, then you click void statement and it will make them disappear from this list. So sometimes people do that and they need to remove some statements. So you will be able to do that in this new screen. The other important things that I want to show you in here is that let's suppose that you requested some statements from filers and you are receiving paper statements from them because sometimes some filers are not comfortable to use the system, so they send you a paper form. What you are going to be able to do in this screen, in the Manage Statement screen, you'll be able to upload a paper form. So how you do this paper form column, there is a little icon here, and in that you are going to type in the receive date for your paper form, and then you are going to choose, well, you will need to scan that paper, scan it, and have it on your computer, and then you are going to be able to select it from your computer here and click Save. So I'm going to actually do that. So I'm going to click Save. Okay. Now what happens, because I have here status pending and I uploaded the paper form for that pending statement, that statement disappeared from the pending list. It became a submitted statement. So use the status all to view all of them, and you are going to see that, do you see that this statement, it shows now that it's submitted status and it's a printed copy. Now you are going to have an icon to view that statement if you want. So you will be able to view it. And I uploaded one thing there. But in case you notice that, oh, I uploaded that statement, I now need to, maybe it was the wrong, I selected the wrong file. I'm going to now want to replace it with something else. Look at this column on the paper form column, and you will be able to replace the paper form with some other file, the correct file, let's say, and that will, so basically you will always have that opportunity. Now, let's suppose that you got a paper form or an electronic form, and now somebody is sending you a paper amendment for that form. You know, so that could happen. Like you might receive a paper amendment, and after like a month, you might receive another paper amendment. So what you will be able to do if you go to these manage statements and select status all, you'll be able to go to a submitted statement, no matter if it was paper or electronically submitted, and you'll be able to click on add upload amendment form, paper amendment form. Okay, so that this is the little icon with an A on it. If you, again, if you go on top of each icon here, because maybe you don't know which one is the correct one, if you go on top of it, you will see like a little pop-up text that explains you what that icon is for which purpose. So this one is upload amendment form. So that's a new feature we introduced this year. So if you click on that, let's say I have received an amendment to another form, an original form. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to put the receive date. I'm going to choose the file, wherever, okay, still this one, and save. Now, you are going to be able to view it right here, okay? So you will be able to view it. Now, in this one, this screen has this is amendment column that it tells you which one is an amendment and which one is the original. Like, is amendment equal Y? It's from yes. It means yes, this is amendment. If you see an N from no, it's an original statement. So I just uploaded this amendment form. You are going to be able to see it here. And you click on the lens icon, you are going to be able to view it. And then you could also replace it or delete it entirely. So you could do all that information here. Now, the other important thing that we did this year, and we didn't have it before, was that, let's say you have a pending amendment that is still pending, and you just try to contact that person. You call it many times, you maybe send an email. So you might want to add a note to remind you what's going on with this, statement. So we added this to help you keep the notes in the system. So you will click on that little thing and say, I called this filer filer on January 2023, and they said they will send or something, just say a reminder, that you want to have always in there, and that you'll always be able to go and view it in there, not, which one was that? I don't recall which one did I do. This one. No, which one did I do? Oh, this one. Okay, so you will always view it, be able to view that note and put more notes, like maybe then in a month, I called him again or something. Whatever you want to put in there as a reminder, you can put in that little, by clicking that little notes icon. See, add, edit notes. So that's one thing that we did. The other thing, which it's important, and I would recommend you try that. We do have, let's say, for school districts, for instance, they are always asking, saying, oh, I am audited and I need to send to my auditor this information, like all my statements, so they are going to audit me and they are going to be able to view the statements. So if you use this export little button, and that basically is going to export in the Excel. Oh, sorry, you need to, oh yeah, it did. So, okay, wait, hold on a second. I have something, okay. So you will export, and that will create an Excel file. I don't know why it's not creating right now. It should create an Excel file with all these statements here, like pretty much, okay, the four, okay, do you want to open? Yes. Okay, this is the Excel, okay? Now the Excel, you see, as I said, it has all the information you need in here. And more than that, it will even, you see, it even tells you when did I send the pre-filing notification, what is the due date, what is the status for each statement. And for the submitted statement, it will also show you have the link to view the form. So people can will be able to click on that link, and then it will bring up the form. So that I know I learned that is a very good feature for the for some agencies or schools, or yeah. So remember about that. Now, if you want to send an email to a filer also, or to a group of filers, maybe send them some custom message, this screen will help you send a mass email. So you could select all, like some people, and then you can click send customized reminder, and then you put a subject and you put whatever you want to send, and then send a reminder email to them. Whatever you want to communicate, you could do a mass email from here. So that's about this screen. This screen also has the how-to button I was showing you. So in case you want to do more, to view more topics and see step-by-step instructions. The last thing that I want to show you is that for the filing officers, we only have like few more minutes, like 10, 12 minutes. I want to remind the filing officers how to review statements, and you can do that by doing review statements in this tab. So in that tab, you'll be able to view a statement, and like, let's say, the way you view, you click on the lens icon, and then you view that statement. And then once, if you you need to mark it as reviewed. This is important. So the way you review it, you click on this review button, and then you select the review type, whether the status is valid or not, or sometimes you might request a correction, and then you put if you need to request a correction, then you put in here in this review comment, you haven't included schedule, whatever, or whatever is wrong with the statement, you put in that information here. And once you say save, the filer is going to receive that email. And if the statement is reviewed, then it will be no email sent, because if it's reviewed valid, then you don't need to send a notification to filer. But this is how you review a statement. Once you review it, let's say I'm reviewing this statement as a facial review, and then I'm gonna mark it, yes, I saved it. You see, it's going to become green. That statement is going to become green. We have a color coding up on top. What green means, it means it was reviewed. It's in green, you don't need to do anything. The pink, we recommend doing a full review on the pink ones. Okay? If you see something like it's highlighted with white, we recommend the facial review. And if you requested an amendment, we highlight that with the yellow. So there is this color coding here. And that's basically the filing officer responsibility is to review these statements. Now let's suppose that you already viewed each and every file. And if it's an electronically reviewed statement, we have a slightly different way to review. Like once you view the form, you will view the DocuSign electronic document. And when you say close, it's straight gonna show you this thing to review. So it will try to make it easy. Now, sometimes, like, let's say if you want to do a mass review, you could select, let's say if I am going to move to something like, let me see if I have something for 2022. I want to show you. Let's say you want to do a mass review. You make sure every time you view this each statement, you don't mark it reviewed just like that. And then let's say you know the white is something that will need a facial review, right? You look here on top on the column. I viewed all the files. Now I want to mark them all as reviewed, facial review. Okay, I mark them all after I view them. I click on mass review. And then I say, yes, I'm going to mark them as facial review and they are all valid. And I'm going to save. That will mark them all as green, reviewed. Okay, so that will make it easy for you to review as a filing officer. We also have this how-to, green button, and that it's the filing officer user manual. So we have step-by-step instruction of what I showed you here. Okay, so these are the important steps that the filing officer have to do. It's pretty simple. Like mainly you are going to work, if you are both, you are going to work with these three screens. Okay. Now there is one more screen, which is probably not going to be used that much, but we added the filing officer statement management screen that will allow you, let's say, if you go to a 2022, whatever, to a filing year, it's going to allow you to send overdue notifications to the filers. Like when the due date is passed, you want to send them overdue notification. And in this screen, we also have a color coding. We are telling you visually which one should send the first overdue notification and which one should be the second overdue notification. Now there are guidelines from FPPC about this, and we put here in red for you. Like the first overdue notice should be sent 120 days after the due date. Second overdue notice should be sent 60 days after the first overdue notice. So the system is going to tell you with the color coding which one you have to do. And in order to do that, you will select those. You are going to select which overdue notification you are doing, and then send overdue notification email will send again a reminder to the filers. And Yeah, so I think these are the major screens. There are also, you could see more reports and logs in here. Like for instance, you want to see the notification logs. You want to see, okay, what have I sent between, what notification emails, pre-filing notifications or overdue notification have I sent, between this date, in this date interval for my agency. And that will basically show you everything that you sent. Like you see, now, when you are marking, let's say you receive a paper form or when an electronic submitted statement was submitted, the system is going to send an email notification to the filers telling them that your Form 700 statement was received. We will go soon. Yes, was received. So that you will see everything that was sent to filers in here. Okay, and it will tell you which email was like the email address and all that. So that will be helpful in here. Now, one more thing I want to go back to to this presentation here, and I'm going to recap a little bit about what the filing officers and officials will be able to, will have to do. Okay, so there are the last few slides are going to basically telling the 3 steps the filing officials need to take in order to send the pre-filing notifications. Okay, so basically it summarizes everything that I showed you in the demo. Like step number 1, go to configuration and make sure everything is correct in there. Step number 2, go to manage filers, and it tells you how you are going to request the annual statement for your filers. Step number 3, how to send the pre-filing notifications by going to manage statements. So these are the recap for the filing officials. Now we also have a recap for the filing officers. It will tell you in here how do you review statements and basically how you add the review, the comment, and which review type you are going to do. So that's just like a little bit of a recap. And we also tell in here for the filing officer how you are going to send the first overdue notification and second overdue notification. Okay, and we provide, I only want, because we have 3 more minutes, I'm going to show you in here one of the last slides. I would recommend to you that let's say when you are looking to do something and you don't recall how to do, just use the how to for that screen and try to locate the topic. Again, let us know if you feel those are not clear instructions. We can edit those and correct the how to user manual. Then like that would be our preferred way. Then if you don't figure out, just feel free and contact us. Like I put in here the contact information. And as soon as we send this, I'm going to make this as a PDF file and we'll put it in chat for you all to receive this training material. In the chat, you are going to also receive the recording session. And yeah, that's it. 2 more minutes for questions. No questions? Okay, so I think that. Oh, anyone?
No, I was just going to say thank you, Laura. It was very, very clear and very thorough.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you all for attending this session. And yeah, the new filing officials, let us know. We can help you to import your filers in the system. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Cheryl.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Laura.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.